Welcome to the Town Board Workshop and Public Hearing for Thursday, September 6th. Please rise and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Emergency exits are to my right, behind the town attorney, and also the door you came in. Roll, please.
Councilwoman Smoji? Here. Councilman Morris?
Here.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Here.
Councilwoman Doyle? Here. And Supervisor Perotti?
Here. Make a motion to open the public hearing for the 2019 Community Development Block Grant.
I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, does anyone have, based on page 3, the consolidated plan priorities, does anyone have any ideas for, the only thing I did look at, I had Chuck Walter from the DOT and also Mike Haggerty took pictures, where it says repair of existing or construction of new sidewalks and crosswalk infrastructure within centers or sidewalk improvements. At the sidewalk in front of the post office needs repair. One of the things the DOT pointed out that the sidewalk and the curb should be flush, and the sidewalk is up here and the sidewalk is down here and the curb is up here, and it's uneven. So thinking of the section from where the pavers are, just down to the driveway that comes out from the apartments in the back, that section, because that seems to be the worst.
About how many feet is that? Do you know?
I don't know, we would have to measure it. And the other thing we would have to check is to see if that particular area of town met the income guidelines.
Which most likely does, since we did that for the Main Street grant.
Yeah, I think we ought to do something similar. Because the other thing you can do besides look at the income, you know, based on the information that Dutchess County Planning has, is you can also do a survey door to door, which we've done before in other parts of town. So I didn't know what you thought about it. This is an area that's needed repair. There is one part of the sidewalk where we've actually put paving material over part of it to
patch it,
to address a trip hazard there. And I didn't know if anyone else had any other ideas.
The improvements to existing facilities, municipal parks, and recreation areas. I know we're talking about new equipment for Beekman, and there's been constant commentary about the state of the Wassaic playground, so that might be something we want to consider.
We actually applied for that, and we were turned down. Mainly because one of the reasons was that area back there has flooded. It only flooded in 2007 that I know of. So they were reluctant to fund the park. What we can do for the park and what we're looking to do is apply for before I go there, we actually looked at the consolidated funding application, and we were going to apply for Wassaic Park for there. However, in the consolidated, under Parks and Recreation, the consolidated funding application, they required a cost estimate, and we didn't have a cost estimate. So the plan we would like to follow now is to apply for a Greenway grant in October and hire a landscape architect to do an actual plan so that we would have a cost estimate of how much it would cost to, for the park to be what it can be. So it's once we have a cost estimate, then we're in a better position to apply for more grants.
That sounds good. We had also discussed during the last meeting the value of having an engineer do a wastewater system plan That's one of the priorities on here, so I'd love to see if maybe we could identify or hire somebody or apply for a grant to hire somebody to do an assessment of the second business district down there in the hamlet of Wassaic. I believe 10 years ago there was a pretty comprehensive plan put together that incorporated both Amenia, the hamlets of Amenia and the hamlets of Wassaic for a wastewater system. Maybe that could be used as a beginning there, but
I think at the time they were looking at the Allen property, were
I
they?
believe that's correct.
Allen was halfway between the two.
Yeah.
And they tried to purchase it, and they weren't able to because the referendum failed.
Right.
The other option people have talked about as far as getting wastewater in Wassaic was, tying the wastewater at the Wassaic Developmental Center to Wassaic, but that proved very costly, if I remember. It was like $1 million or something to go that distance. Most of the wastewater systems, including the one Silo Ridge is using, it's more environmental, using gray water instead of using wastewater plants, which are much more expensive and difficult to put in place. I'm not sure if this says development of central water and wastewater systems. Would that fit under that?
There may be some thresholds as far as what constitutes central.
Because we don't have a wastewater district. I mean, would we need to have one?
No, I think, I don't have all of the, I believe there's, some of these priorities look at more of a multi-community.
Jim, could you? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's not on.
Okay.
Some of these criteria look at a multi-community project, like, I know in town of Poughkeepsie, town of Wappinger, and the village of Wappingers Falls all participate in one central plant. So I'm not sure if central plant means central plant for a number of municipalities or just for one municipality. That's the only thing. I mean, it's certainly something you could look at. And I think some of that ties into the economic issue. Certain on the community development block grant scoring, certain of the projects require the economic component, whereas others don't. So, there's a lot of different projects that can be considered, from not-for-profits and as well as, governmental agencies. I know, for example, the housing component of this community development block grant program is tied to the economic factors. I believe some of the park programs are tied to the economic factors, but things like handicapped accessibility I don't believe are. So different projects on the list have different criteria.
Sure. I think it'd be worth investigating
Yeah.
to see if we could apply for the funding of a study. Specifically there's two business districts in Amenia, clearly the hamlet of Amenia, the hamlet
basically
of Wassaic.
we can send an email over to county planning and see what the requirements
Yeah.
are for that. So,
The big benefit to having a wastewater system that serves that area is not only the cost of setting up a business then becomes a little more feasible, but a lot of folks who have houses down there, aside from the fact that we're in a valley and it floods pretty regularly, your well is often too close to your septic.
Sure.
You can't get a mortgage on the house, so that limits the limits the value of the housing stock down there because it puts a cap on how much you can sell it for cash, basically. So I think it'd be a great economic benefit to that hamlet.
and then, for wastewater, there's an Environmental Facilities Corporation, clean water programs apply to wastewater treatment, and then there's the drinking water programs that apply to potable water supply. So, and to the extent you develop, a study like that, you can use it in the
A lot of
CFA
different, yeah.
process, you can use it in the EFC process, you can use it in some of the small cities project. So once you have those plans in place, similar to, what you had suggested with respect to the parks, once you have the cost estimates and you start to develop the plan, you can get, you can kind of reuse that for a lot of the different funding applications. Because even though they call it the consolidated funding application, there's still a lot of programs that are outside of that you can use those studies for. And I think those are worthwhile. I think there's also some programs out of the Department of State for water, sewer treatment and water treatment facilities, because that's one of the things that, has some priority as well. But the funding on it is fairly limited as far as how much money you can get on the studies. Typically they come back with 20,000 or something like that. But again, something's better than nothing.
One question, Victoria, I don't know if you guys talked about this when you were reviewing the priorities, but what do they specifically mean by support transit-oriented developments? We have a couple of opportunities surrounding our 2 Metro North stations here in town. So what do you suppose they mean by that? Like how could the town apply for a grant to assist or support the transit-oriented development process?
Well, I think they'd have to be started to be established, wouldn't they?
Well, I believe at one point in time, Beacon used the project, I think the Long Dot project in Beacon was termed a transit-oriented development project, and also some of the projects in the city of Poughkeepsie, I think on the old Dutton lumber site. I think that project was classified as a transit-oriented development project. Some of those you can look at, again, doing a study for revamping your zoning code to accommodate transit-oriented development.
We already have. We did that when we did the master plan.
Yeah, so...
And the problem is that the ownership hasn't been resolved. So it's for sale, and typically a grant-funded project would require that ownership be, that step be taken care of, right?
Well, yeah, you're talking about 10 Mile
Yeah.
and DDSO. Yeah, but
Oh, you
across...
think somewhere else?
Well, across the street is privately held land that's in the TOD.
Oh, where the Millbrook distillery?
Distillery?
Well, there's that.
And
then-
Ian
and
Holbeck's.
Ian Holbeck's land to the north. And then also the land surrounding Wassaic train station
I see.
is also...
And to the extent that, you could potentially merge some of that in, if you've got a transit-oriented development where you're looking at putting in sewer improvements to accommodate that, you could probably, that would probably get you more points in the scoring, because if you have a project that hits a number of different criteria, that increases your score, when they're
Right,
reviewing
but this
the
is a
application.
one-year
Right. I mean, they're
project.
not-
So
right.
we're not
Yeah,
gonna
you have a
create
timeline.
something from
Right.
scratch
No, no.
and have it
No, I'm just-
shovel-ready and finished in 1 year. So you got to look at a project that actually is a doable thing within a year, where already it's an obvious priority. I think creating something from brand new, if it isn't already been flagged, is very hard to get all the pieces assembled and be competitive within a year, because like a sidewalk that has problems and we can document that, that's going to be easy, and we're responsible for public safety. So that's probably a pretty easy one. and we've had a successful track record on that, but creating a sewer system from scratch, from
Well,
start to finish, isn't going to happen
Yeah, no, I mean, I
easily.
wasn't suggesting.
I mean, a plan, yes.
Yeah, the plan, that's all I was
plan,
suggesting. was
but I
the-
agree with, is it Alan?
Jim.
Well, we do have a
Is that
plan, don't we?
20% is allowed for engineering. So right off the bat, you know they expect a project of some sort to be completed within a year.
Right.
So if 20% is engineering and a plan is engineering and architectural, you're already limited to, you got to have a product. And somehow 80% of that has got to be something other than architectural and engineering plans, I think,
Yeah, and I mean, the
the
funding.
way I'm reading it.
And then the funding maximums on the back of the first page, the maximum for one applicant is 150,000.
Right, we're
And,
pretty comfortable with
100,
that, yeah.
so, I mean,
It's a limited,
Right.
very specific, something that can be done in a year, something that we already know needs to be done and is well documented. That will help score us well. Accessibility. I agree that, I think that the sidewalk is a good idea, and maybe, potentially, if it's eligible, are some of the modifications that were envisioned at Fountain Square, that the planting beds were going to be widened, there's going to be a sign, and they say, civic spaces. Let's see, repairs,
I had,
municipal parks and recreation areas, that was the consolidated plan priorities. Where you could do it all, it needs to be in one area, $150,000 max in one area, but I was thinking if we could do the sidewalks and I would still say in Wassaic that the sidewalks down there are in deplorable condition, and I know it wasn't successful in the past, right? We did apply and they didn't go for it for some reason. But that is, the sidewalks really there are not meeting any kind of ADA, and they're heavily used during the festivals and art activities.
Right, I mean, I did bring this up once before in a prior meeting. One of my neighbors did ask me if there was anything that could be done about maybe creating some sort of barrier between the road and the sidewalk.
Right, I mean, you shouldn't
Right there,
have
yes.
people walking at the same level as the traffic. There
There's
should
no-
be a curb.
There's no curb.
That would help protect pedestrians who are walking along that road.
Well,
I
that
agree,
would
they
be-
should be done to standards, to appropriate standards.
but that's a county road, so we'd
No,
have
that's a
to.
town road.
What
Furnace
is?
Bank is what I'm talking about.
Oh, Furnace Bank?
Furnace Bank, the section between Luther Barn and the railroad tracks. That's not a huge stretch, and it's in very poor condition. Again, we've patched it with some asphalt in between the cracks to try and make a more even surface, but it's subpar. It's not wide enough for ADA. It's, as far as I can tell, it's not the 4 feet wide. And it's heavily used. I mean, economic development, I just saw a ton of people parked at the Lantern. Tons of economic activity that wasn't there 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know why it wasn't successful in the past, but that might merit a phone call to county and see why it wasn't.
It wasn't because we already have a community development block grant for down there, for the rail trail that comes out by Maxim Mills.
Oh, that we haven't completed.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Well, once we complete that one, they'll let us do another
Okay,
down
I
there.
see. I wondered, because that's a very eligible project that
Yeah,
would soak up
that was why.
$150,000 right off the bat. But you could also maybe argue that the section, if there was the section in front of the post office and then the section that didn't get finished down to the ball field, we have the section that you did until you got into a tricky part before you got all the way to the ball field.
We
on
can't,
West
yeah,
Main.
we can't complete that to the ball field until the DOT repairs,
that
water.
yeah, it repairs the culverts there,
Okay.
because that jacked our grant, the cost of that jacked it up to $400,000. So
That
what-
alone is,
Right.
would eat up.
So
too
what
much.
we did was,
Okay.
Dutchess County Planning said we could do that particular project in phases. So that's why we did 188 feet as phase one.
Right, but we
And
have to go back to them for phase 2 or subsequent
we go to
phases?
phase 2, but I'm in touch with DOT, and when they have it in their plan,
To fix that, then
to
you'll
fix that.
dovetail that, okay.
And then we'll dovetail it with the
Right.
sidewalk project.
Okay,
So that's, that's the way we left it. When they fix their part, then we told them that, if you fix everything you need to fix.
right.
Then,
We'll do our part.
we'll do our part and do the sidewalk.
Right, that makes sense.
So that's where we are with that. So whatever we decide to do, we would have to do a resolution at the next meeting in order to apply.
Have we asked the highway department if they have a section of repairs that they need to make that would be eligible for, I don't know.
I don't
if,
think they have anything on there, because
There's nothing here?
No,
that
they
would work?
used to have, they changed their priorities, and they used to have stormwater,
Yeah.
and it's
right.
not on there now.
Okay.
So they,
Contain drainage such as green streets and green, okay. pervious.
that's-
so, but we do
That's a
have,
subclass of the other, right?
What about but water and wastewater? So water, we certainly know that we have improvements that need to be made, and we have a plan that's been started, and there are sections that we are trying to do, which is involving solving the booster pumps, right? So maybe there's a section of that really needs to be done, falls on the shoulders of 300 water district residents, and that either raising the tank or whatever, we're close in getting some ideas. So that seems more likely to be something we could accomplish in a year.
Right.
And is clearly a benefit, a really basic level service that needs to be done.
well, I could, I can talk to them
Yeah.
about, get
Priorities.
some more definition about water and wastewater in here, and I can let you know what they said.
Did we hear back from Sebi about the projected costs of adding another ring to the current tower? Remember that was
We
one
were
of their.
supposed to hear that.
We were
yeah.
supposed to hear that. And I think at the time his estimate was like 60 grand or something if the tower was in good enough shape and they could get
Right.
another ring. I think I don't recall, but that seemed like a nice moderate size.
Right,
Well, we're gonna-
project, Right. That would solve the pressure
Pressure.
issues right off the bat, yeah.
Well, I could talk to them about that, and see, what kinds of things would be eligible to apply for water and wastewater. Because
Right.
we have time.
And there is a provision for some engineering studies, if that's what needs to be the next phase of that, is getting a real solid plan, estimates, three different, because that's what they were doing. They were doing Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, and seeing what the feasibility and costs would be, as I recall.
Didn't the gentleman at the last meeting say that we should get someone an engineer who knows about the water plants and stuff to do that from, I don't know, some location where they come from? When he was talking about it last week?
I think you're right about the possibilities of improving the existing water tower. That we need to get some more specific information
Yeah, I think
about.
that's what he said, we need to get like an engineer from a place that they do the water towers.
Right.
That's my
That
best
particular
understanding
water
of it, so
tower,
not
yeah. Yeah.
exact in what he was saying, but.
Okay, so you want me to get more information, and I'll get back to you on the water and wastewater part of it?
And find
see
out
my-
how much sidewalk we need repaired on East Main. That would,
Yeah, I'll have it measured out, see if Megan can do that
that
for me.
definitely at some point has to be dealt with, and it's going to be costly.
Yeah, the other area, the rebar is falling off onto the sidewalk too, where the railing goes up. Yeah, I have to talk to,
Yeah.
because one of the things they mentioned on the rail that goes into the post office, that isn't ADA compliant.
Is that our responsibility there? Isn't that part of that building, or is that's ours?
I have to look into that.
Do you know whose responsibility the retaining walls are for the creek down in Wassaic?
Ours.
Ours? I will double check this, but I think I remember Sharon mentioning something about one of the walls across from her store starting to come apart a bit. I'm not sure that that would qualify for anything here, but if that is the case and it does qualify, it might be an easy,
Well, it might be something we might want to have an engineer look at.
yeah.
You know, if there's something starting to let loose before it gets any worse.
If you're talking about where the bridge, covers, I think
Yeah.
Megan and her crew maybe should be telling us whether or not those abutments are appropriately sound or in danger of, yeah, since that's a town road.
Okay, are there any other ideas anybody has? No? Well,
I think that would be eligible, actually, because remember we did the Nelson Bridge abutments, and the highway guys did it, and we got reimbursed for all their expenses, so
Well, we
that's
can
the
look
kind
into
of project
that.
that might work under, oh, at least it used to be. I mean, remember Nelson Bridge was very successful.
Yeah, well, we had to do that. Actually, we took out a band to do that because it was on the list of the state bridges that
Needed to be repaired.
needed to be repaired because the scours were eating away with the abutments. So it was, before it got any worse and cost any more, that's why we went ahead and did that. Okay, any other comments? Okay, make a motion to close the public hearing for the 2019 Community Development Block Grant.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, is any public comment? I guess not. Supervisors report. Wassaic Trail, the train update, the right-of-way documents are being assembled in order to be filed with the Dutchess County Clerk's Office this week. Town of Amenia Highway Garage Land update. I sent an email today asking for a status update from DEC and OGS officials and asked what the next steps are. Amenia Town Hall grant upgrades. The electric company that NYSEC hired completed the replacement of all lighting in the Amenia Town Hall, including the auditorium chandeliers and lights in the elevator to LED. NYSEC contributed $19,650.42 of the $28,324.50 total cost. The town of Amenia cost of $8,674.08 will be paid interest-free over the next 24 months in monthly payments. NYSEC estimated cost savings of $14,660.14 annual savings and $73,331 savings over the next 5 years in interior lighting costs for the Amenia Town Hall. Noise law update. The noise law update draft has been sent to the town board for review and comments. It will be introduced as a local law in order to set a public hearing date as soon as it is finished. Water laws. The water law draft with the proposed rate increases and additions will be presented at the September 20th, 2018 town board meeting. Town clerk report.
Good evening. I report that the local share being remitted this month for the activity of August in the town clerk's office is $7,014.70. New to the office, I've actually sold 2 Easy Passes before signage was even put up. I know there was some doubt, So anyone in the local area that is looking for an easy pass, so you don't have to go out to one of your local bridges or to one of the stores on Route 9, stop here in the town clerk's office, $25. We'll give you a preloaded tag and you'll be on your happy way and you can go through all your tolls. We have advertised for our alternate ZBA, Town Historian, CAC, Water Committee. I think I have everything on there, Recreation, and anybody that wants to do anything and help us volunteer in our wonderful community. It's a recurring ad, but I have received this week for the alternate ZBA position. We've received one application, Leo Blackman. Leo Blackman was formerly on the ZBA and he had to resign for his schedule at the time. I've circulated his volunteer application, and on the back of it, it is double-sided. His letter of interest does accompany his volunteer application.
Quick question about that, sorry.
Absolutely.
Because he has served on the ZBA before and went through the interview process, do we have to do that again? Or, I guess for the benefit of those that were not on the board when we
As
interviewed.
a matter of policy, back about 10 years ago, I may have made the motion, I can't remember, but the policy of interviewing for a ZBA or planning board position is such that it is like a 7-year, 5-year commitment. Some applicants come in and they don't even realize at the time we're interviewing what kind of a commitment they're making. And just because you've served doesn't mean necessarily that you've attended meetings and been an active member. So I think it's a good time. Some of these people kept rolling over and rolling over. After 21 years, you know, it was good to have them come in and say why they wanted to be on it, you know, but you haven't showed up for those meetings. What's going on? Is there something that, you know, prevented you? So it was like an affirmation. If they could even make it here, sometimes they couldn't even make it to our meeting, let alone. So it was a good time to just say, not everybody is always.
That's fair, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Okay, did you want to hold his interview before the September 20th meeting
Yes,
at
Yeah.
6:45?
yes.
Great, I'll call him.
Works for me.
Everybody knows my spiel from December through May. I'm your tax collector. This time of year, I, with regret, tell you I am not your school tax collector. I appreciate everybody coming into the office and wanting to give me your money. If you were to look at your tax bills when they went out, it shows very clearly in there, Weebtuck Central School District at 194 Height Road. If you wish to make your payment in person, you can do so on September 14th from 12 to 2, October 1st from 6 to 8, 11/2 from 12 to 2, or by mail. I love the visits from all of our residents here in town, but I feel bad when I
can't
have to
take
send you away. I did call the school and I spoke to the district office. If you're coming to make a payment in full, you are welcome to continue driving up 22, stopping over at the school at 194 Haight Road, and the staff there will be glad to take your payment as long as it's the full tax payment. So now that we all see our tax bills, that reminds us that school for the 2018-2019 school year is opened, and as one of your bus drivers here in the community, I'd like to remind all of our residents, kids are back out early morning, late afternoon. Please use caution when the school buses are out, and it's a law to stop for red flashing lights. So please keep our children safe in the community. It sounds silly I have to make that announcement, but accidents do happen, and they've happened here in our area. The Stones Church Grange is going to be holding a spaghetti dinner on Friday, September 14th. It's a continuous serving from 5 to 7. Reservations, please call Kathy at area code 845-442-9027. So support the Stone Church.
Was that in Dover?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm like
At the-
showing you.
Dover Plains.
It's at the Masonic Lodge in Dover.
Thank you. So Cindy Snow dropped off the flyer, and I promised that I would announce it to all so they can enjoy a delicious spaghetti dinner. And that will conclude the town clerk's report for this meeting.
Okay, Building Department report. Building permits, we have issued 14 new building permits totaling $8,993. The 10 certificate of occupancy searches for $1,250, 3 fire inspections for $150, bringing the total for the month to $10,393. Are there any other committee reports?
I went to the Recreation Commission meeting the other week, the other evening, and one of the things I asked for was for $150 for the Golden Age Singers that will be coming on Thursday, October 11th, and be in our auditorium, which is free to the public, so everyone can come. And they approved the $150 to come out of their rec money for that. One of the things they kept asking about was they want to hire a recreation director for baseball. And my personal opinion is, I don't think we need to hire a recreation director for baseball. If you need someone to coordinate the baseball things, I know it's been done by, Dawn Marie has done it in the past, and
Christine Ford.
Christine Ford, yes, I couldn't think of her last name. Christine Ford has stopped doing it. So what we really need is just someone to coordinate it. Actually go there and say, okay, the baseball, I don't know the baseball teams. I'm really not very baseball savvy. But we have like a team, a little league team, and a middle league team, and a bigger team, and another. There are all these little teams and stuff, and they all, right now, they all register and sign up in the town hall. We changed that process so that you would come in and you'd bother Dawn Marie, not me, and fill out those forms and stuff and do what you have to do. But still in all, we need a person to coordinate it. Those things, get the information out, say what they want to do, schedule the games, because I know you have to schedule where they're going to play, who's going to play who, and all of that stuff. Hire the umpires and work out those details. And I really would, I would think a person who understands baseball could just do that. We're not going to add, to me, I'm going to say to you, now you go out there and sweep off first base or something like that, but just coordinate it, organize it. Could be anybody. And I would like someone from the committee to do it, but, you know.
I think they were also looking for someone to keep track of all the other events too.
Right.
And advertise them.
And advertise, they wanted to do something.
And one of the things they had talked about last time we did have a recreation director was to have some kind of a pamphlet with everything
Yes.
that's being offered, similar to what Dover has.
Right.
So there would be, other than coordinating all the baseball,
But they could hook up.
it would be everything.
Right. I did mention to them at the board that I was looking for next year, January, to do that trifold paper and put all the activity, I mean, I put it together and I'll give it to the secretary, Nancy.
Nancy,
upstairs.
yep, Nancy will.
Yeah, I just,
She likes projects.
I will delegate that right up there. I'll get to the information, and well, then we can put that together and we can get it out to the people and get it advertised. I want to talk to the lovely lady over there later about how to advertise all these things, so I'd really like to see these things advertised and the most efficient way for us to do it. So I don't see the need for us personally to hire a recreation director. I really
Full-time or part-time?
well, I couldn't figure out what they were asking me for.
Well, I did get an email asking for full-time with benefits, which
Yes,
I don't
yes.
think is going to happen.
That's right.
Because the prior, did send out an email when I had Annette look to see what we had before, when Ken Pomisel was our recreation director, and he was part-time. He was about 20 hours a week.
Right,
And then at one point, we had a recreation leader
right.
for a few years.
Ken did a great job, and his son after that, they coordinated the fields, and I don't know if Christine does all of that, because, you know, you have to coordinate all of these different games.
Yes,
and
she did.
Yes, she
playing
did. Yes, she
fields.
did.
So somebody has to take that on very seriously and maintain the calendar,
Exactly.
and I don't know how that can be done by somebody who isn't
We need somebody
focused on that.
who's can focus just on that. The baseball, what I'm getting, because every meeting I go to them, they talk about the baseball. And it's a big project. It's a big project because we have a lot of children going to these games and stuff. I think it's even...
Well, it's baseball and it's girls softball, I mean,
And all, yes.
yeah.
It's
And
all...
there's inventory maintenance, and there's...
and keeping track of the
Exactly,
team.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's all.
Keeping track of the umpires, you know, it's a lot of work.
Right.
It's a
And
lot of work. And
we were really spoiled with Christine and all the
Right,
time
right.
and energy she put in it on her own.
Right.
Probably what we should do is go back to Christine and say, what kind of hours are needed to keep what you've got,
Right.
the minimum that you've got done, and then see if we can add some bells and whistles onto that, because what we need is to make sure that we fill the hole
Right.
that she's gonna
Right. Well,
vacate.
that was one of the suggestions I made at the meeting, is that let's go, you guys talk to her baseball, because you know baseball, and talk to her and figure out what she did, how she did it, what we need, and work from there. So we
The
have
hours involved.
hours
right.
involved, so we have a plan of what we can do.
So
about it.
we know what to put in the budget.
Exactly, what to put in the budget and how to do it. And I think it's a great program. I know I say I don't know much about baseball. I really don't know anything about baseball. I had, well, my son is a grown man now, but when he was in scouts and stuff like that, I had all my scout guys, and they would go play baseball, and I would go with all the scout boy, you know, I take the, whatever I used to call them, den mother. I was a den mother, and I was also, believe it or not, I was also the head chief of the scouts. I don't forget the name of what I had, all these things. I don't remember. My brain is whacked. But anyway, they would go and they'd play these games, and they'd play these games, and the boys would run up to me. Michelle, did you see that triple header I hit? Oh, yes, you were wonderful. I have no idea what that is. But you were fantastic, you know, and stuff like that. So I would go to it. So I know they all enjoy it and stuff. And then my son played also. When he was a little bit bigger, he played. And my grandsons, they played. And it's great. It's great. They love it. Everybody loves it. All the kids
I
love it.
can follow up with Christine
Right.
and get an idea of the hours.
Michelle, just to have an open mind on that, as a new board liaison, and I'm not trying to defend Recreation
No, no,
Commission.
no.
But since 2006, you know, this has been an ongoing subject matter in regards to having a rec director, or a rec liaison,
Right,
a rec
right.
oversight.
Right. Has been.
One of the things that put my money hat on for this community and for this board, you need to have someone that's responsible to ensure that all the funds are going to reach to you and all of the, so
Exactly.
this year there was a lot of discussion at rec meetings and not necessarily at rec meetings in regards to all of what happened this year regarding the rec program, who's going to oversee it.
Right, right.
So there are still some teams that have not turned in their money. I don't have their registration forms.
Yeah, that's what-
I've sent emails to Chip as
Uh-huh.
he's completely aware of
Yes,
where
he
I
is.
stand. I gave him all of the rec money that was turned in. It's something that I mean, it was actually a good thing, some of the problems we had at the end of last year, so that way you, as a board, can see the monies that are coming through, parents can get proper receipts in a timely fashion.
Right, right.
And we ensure that all of the
Well,
activities are being
This is the
signed
first
off
time
on.
we're hearing about any
Problems with
problems.
registration. I
So
thought it was
whatever
all
problems
down.
they are, I'd like them written up and presented to the board.
Right, because they
'Cause
shouldn't be out
until
on the
tonight, we
field
had no
if they
idea.
haven't paid their fees, and those fees
So
haven't been
that's
turned
where your
in.
rec director or your oversight person
Right.
comes into play, because then that person also has to go to meetings. I don't want you to think Christine just sits there and has a spreadsheet and has to do out the
Oh, no,
games.
no,
They have to go to meetings, they're meeting with other teams, they're
Yes.
travel teams.
Right.
There's true organization to this
Yes.
position. Several people in the community have expressed an interest in replacing Christine when the year was over and she was done. Nobody was stepping up right away. But this is a true person that has to be organized. It's not
Yes.
someone that can just be like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
This
no.
is, you guys really want this to be organized
Yes.
and done,
Yes.
and documentation done
Right.
right. You're
And
looking for
enforced,
someone who's going to
right.
take it
Right.
serious.
Right, and Chip, like I say, Chip does know about it because at the meeting, he did bring up the fact that certain things were not turned in like you just expressed and
So
stuff
the
like that.
liaisons were
Well,
on that email.
that needs to come to the town board.
Okay.
And it should have been by now.
Okay, so we get that to be squared away as to what they need to do and how they need to do it.
So I think they might have been using baseball, but as a whole, the board needs to know this is a position that is not just
More than
baseball. It's
baseball.
more than just
Absolutely.
baseball. So I don't want you guys to
Right.
think they're looking it might have been used
Right.
because of everything. But this is they want to do all the activities, and you guys want to know when the building is being used, what activities. You have council
Promote-
members that are
promote
doing,
the activities. Right.
building uses at the school. Is that something you want to continue to do until,
Insurance, all
so
of
there's a
that.
lot.
Yep.
Right.
The insurance requirements.
It's a big deal. That's why I suggested to them that they, at another meeting, invite Christine to come and just have the meeting with her and just actually map it all out as to what we need to do and how we need to do it.
There's a lot of players that take place to make the
to make
programs
the
happen.
program work. There's a lot of little
Yeah.
you have to do to get it in place. It's not just, me taking my son to a baseball game, get your hat, get your glove, get your...
Okay, so just as long as you understand that, because
Right.
you're representing them and you're representing all of us
Right, right.
in this community when you're
Right.
representing us as our rec liaison.
Right.
So
No, I know
it's
that
full
there's-
detail. I want to
know
make
there's
sure
a-
that you bring to the board as our liaison exactly what they're asking for.
Right. So I'm not even certain they knew what they were asking for, basically. So I think
We had
that's
it on the next
why
rec meeting.
I suggested we have Christine come in, the person who's done it, and just make it at her convenience.
I just wanted the board to be, because if you...
We need to be aware.
Everybody needs to be aware.
We need to be aware. We can't have 50 little kids show up with hats and gloves and say, "Where's the game?" And we'll go, "Oh, okay."
Can we move this along,
Okay.
please?
Is there any other committee reports? Or did you have anything else?
Can I just mention that the next rec meeting is September 13th at
Thank you.
6 PM here at Town Hall. CAC is meeting on the 19th, that's a Wednesday, third Wednesday, at 7 PM at the Town Hall. So those are the two next meetings that I know of.
And they're open to the public.
Right.
Got to get the community involved.
Is that all the
That's
committee
it.
reports?
Yep.
We're done? Okay, Amenia Town Hall generator change order resolution. This was discussed at the last meeting. I went back through all the old emails, sent them to everybody so they had all of the information.
And I did call Fellenser and had a conversation with the project manager there just to get some background on the history of what they were tasked with initially, what they went through. About a year ago, they were hired to come in and install a propane generator. It was sized for the use at the time of the building, which was 150 kilowatts, and they completed that design. And then on Mike Segelkin's suggestion, they were asked to recalculate for increased capacity, which included the gymnasium, upping the system load to about 230 kilowatts, and instead of using propane, pulling from the existing underground diesel tanks, I guess they are.
Yes.
So that was the second redesign they did under the initial scope. And then very recently, since the involvement of OGS and our going to them on Scott's suggestion for the procurement of the generator, they then were faced with having to change the plan a third time. This change order includes the coordination that would be required with OGS to redo the design to make it specific to the generator that they're proposing to procure, and then redo the bid documents. So given all that, I have a much better understanding. Their request does not seem wholly unreasonable, since this is now the third time they're being asked to redo this design. It would have been nice if we hadn't run them around first couple of times, but granted, the OGS opportunity came to us late in the game, and the potential savings of going through OGS far outweigh the cost of the change order, and so I am supportive now.
So I would like to make a motion that we reconsider the vote on Resolution 50 of 2018, authorizing change order to Fellenzer Engineering LLP Engineering Design Services Agreement regarding emergency standby generator at Town Hall.
Second.
Councilwoman Simoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Thank you for indulging me the time to educate
Well,
myself on that.
And then I think you have to have a second.
Everybody needs to be
Second.
comfortable and
No,
know
no,
all
you have
the
to have a
facts before we make any
so that-
decisions.
Yeah, we have to do a new resolution.
Right.
Right.
We have to do what now?
A new resolution.
Oh, a new we have to do.
Oh,
Right, because we just agreed to
Reconsider it.
reconsider. Now we
So
need
now
to-
you just have a vote
ah,
on the resolution.
Right.
The one that we have right now?
Yes.
is it still 50, or is there a new number?
54.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So change order to Fellenzer, so that's at resolution
54.
54. Do you want me to read it, or do you want to read it?
No, you can do it.
Resolution number 54 of 2018, authorizing change order to Fellenzer Engineering LLP Engineering Design Services Agreement regarding emergency standby generator at Town Hall. Whereas the town board authorized a proposal for engineering design services from Fellenzer Engineering LLP to design the emergency power generator system at Town Hall by resolution number 41 of 2017, adopted by the town board on October 5th, 2017. And whereas as a result of unexpected circumstances, additional design work and preparation of additional design documents reflecting owner-provided, in quotes, equipment from New York State bid, including potential upgrades to incoming electrical service in order to support the size of the generator, has to be performed. And whereas Fellenzer Engineering LLP has submitted a change order dated August 3rd, 2018 for consideration in the amount of $5,200, $5,200 now, therefore be it resolved that the additional design work and preparation of additional design documents to design the emergency power generator system at Town Hall is authorized in the amount of $5,200, increasing the total contract amount from $10,500 to $15,700, and be it further resolved that the town supervisor is hereby authorized to execute change order number 1 in the amount of $5,200 in substantially the same form as annexed here to.
You making that motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
And Councilwoman Simoji?
Yes.
Okay, ADA improvement and windows replacement bid decision. The original bid was higher than we expected. So Crawford and I, associates and I, went back through the bid, and what we did was take out some of the windows that we were going to have done, and also some of the windows that we were going to have removed. And so what is left is all the windows for all the offices, for the town board meeting room, for the courtroom, assessor's office, building office, clerk's office, and the town clerk's office. And we took out the windows, like in the art room downstairs, the boiler room. Since we're not sure what the final look of the kitchen will be, we took those out too. And then there was a recreation room off the gymnasium that we took out. So that reduced the bid quite a bit. We do have the difference in the budget. So instead of the original bid of $105,000 for the windows, I believe we're down to, I was looking for the page on it, for,
87,000?
it's 70,000.
71,000?
71,650. And that's just, that's just concentrating on all the offices where that will be occupied. And the person, we only had one bid. In the bid specs, it did state that we could do all or make adjustments to the bids. The contractor doesn't have a problem with any adjustments as far as the windows goes. And he has been vetted by Dutchess County Planning. He's apparently done other ADA grant work for other towns. And they feel he's a very, very good contractor and will get, good value for doing the ADA changes.
And we're under a deadline to get both of these projects underway and finished?
Well, we under a deadline by October 31st. We can get an extension if we need to. Dutchess County Planning is aware of, what we've been doing with the bid, and since the original advertisement did say it was for the bid or any alternates or changes we wanted to make. So what we wanted to do tonight is to accept the bid with the new amounts so that we can get this project started and get it done in a timely manner.
Are we going to do all of these alternates as well, or is it just, you're suggesting that we accept this revised bid of $69,000 for the windows, $71,650 for the windows.
Right. And as the resolution is drafted, it includes all 4 alternates for the ADA work.
Which is in a CDBG grant that's going to be covered by
Yes.
CDBG. Okay, I got it.
Vicky, you had asked about the top
Window
infill.
upstairs? Yeah.
No.
Oh.
What the infill is going to look like. There's a diagram. Here.
Right.
It's roughly a third of the opening size.
Well, Victoria says that it's going to replace the existing one, so there won't be any difference in aesthetics.
No, I think she said might be a little taller. Isn't that what you said? I don't.
Yeah.
It might be a little taller. According to this diagram, it looks like it's about a third. And then in the window schedule, it's the current window size looks like they're all 72 inches tall, and the proposed window size is 60 inches tall. So it's about a foot.
Yeah, what they decided to do in the front of the building, the window in the bookkeeper's office was already done with the energy efficient window. Mm-hmm. And we kind of based the size of the windows all the way on the side of the building with that size. So it would be, so it would look
Have a
the
uniform,
same,
uniform look.
a uniform look all the way through.
Okay.
55. Authorizing awarding a bid received in response to the request for bids for the Town Hall Improvement Project. Whereas on August 13, 2018, a sealed bid for the Town Hall Improvement Project was publicly open and read aloud pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 103, whereas only one bid was received from Trademark Custom Building and Woodworking, and whereas the bid received is in excess of the funds available for the project, whereas the notice to bidders reserve the right to the town to award any or all items as the interest of the town of Amenia may appear to require, Whereas the town engineer, Crawford and Associates Engineering, PC, has reviewed the proposal from Trademark Custom Building and Woodworking and has discussed and recommended that the town award the bid to Trademark Custom Building and Woodworking for the base ADA contract price plus alternate 1, alternate 2, alternate 3, and alternate 4, together with a window replacement reduction from 54 to 37 windows itemized as item 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, pursuant to letter dated September 5, 2018. Whereas Crawford and Associates Engineering, PC, reports that Trademark Custom Building Woodworking has complied with the bid specifications and was the only bidder for the project. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Amenia does hereby award the bid for Town Hall Improvement Project to Trademark Custom Building and Woodworking for a cost not to exceed $159,400, which includes a base ADA contract price of $69,500 plus alternate 1 and the amount of $4,250, alternate number 2 and the amount of $3,750, alternate number 3 and the amount of $4,250, and alternate number 4 and the amount of $6,000 for a total ADA contract amount of $87,750, together with a reduced window replacement plan designated as item 1.0 in the amount of $19,750, 1.1 in the amount of $45,250, 1.2 in the amount of $2,150, and 1.3 in the amount of $4,500, for a total window replacement cost of $71,650, pursuant to their bid dated August 13, 2018, and revised on September 6, 2018. Be it further resolved that the town supervisor is authorized and directed to execute the contract between the town and the contractor, and the town engineer is authorized to issue a written notice to proceed as soon as practicable thereafter. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion. That's fine.
Just flipping through the documents, the ADA contract award was $93,500, so all of the alternatives included is $6,000 less than what the award is. So,
Okay.
Do we make the?
I have a motion, I just need a second.
A second.
Michelle? Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes?
And Councilwoman Spongy. Sorry. You're all councilmen.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Just a couple of comments on this. Clearly voted for it because we want to take advantage of that grant money. I would implore the board that moving forward, we try to take advantage of the shared services bidding for projects like this. And congratulations to Trademark. It's going to average just shy of $2,000 per window. I really hope we do not see a change order or request for additional funds come throughout this project. It's a little on the expensive side. But thanks again to Sue Serino for assisting with that grant.
And I think it's beyond the windows, so they're also infill the area above the window. So it's just not replacing the windows, as I understand, is that there's cavities that they're going to fill above and below.
My objection has been sort of to the process. The fact that we did this with the ADA, with all due respect to your firm, the fact that we had our lawyer at $175 an hour working with Crawford, who we were also paying to generate a bid for I mean,
I was
There's a
working
more
with
efficient
Crawford.
way.
I understood. I mean, as was Scott on a lot of those emails, and we
Well,
paid
he
him for
did
his time.
he did the resolution.
So,
and I agree with you with respect to the process. I think, one of the issues I think that Crawford had talked about was, originally when they talked about combining the two projects, there was some discussion about coordinating of the project schedules for some of the work that was to be required. But I agree with you. I think at the end of the day, because of
Complicated the thing rather than...
it complicated it rather than simplified it. Yes,
Right.
and I think
it costs more.
well, I mean, and the other thing too is
Make it all work.
when you you know, you had an ADA contractor who was basically bidding on the ADA work.
Right.
And threw in the windows as a tag along, and none of the window contractors wanted to bid on the ADA work. So
Right.
I think at the end of the day, that's what happened. So, I mean, that's one of the things that when you do contract, you know, public improvement contracts, sometimes sometimes it makes it's difficult to coordinate two different contracts.
Right.
But once you do
But they were
that-
looking for the economies
Right.
of having one person do it and
Right.
subcontract out. So they were looking for the economies of doing it that way.
Right, and it didn't pan out.
No.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Okay, transfer of funds, 56.
56.
Whereas the town board has the authority to transfer funds when necessary unanticipated to amend the budget. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund increasing revenue line 2680.01 insurance recoveries by $2,200 and increasing expense line 16204.01.077 building CE telephone by $1,200 and increase 16604.01.074 central storm CE supplies by $1,000 for unanticipated costs from other departments. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund increasing expense line 14204.01 attorney CE by $11,034.75 and decrease 80204.01 special or planning CE special land use attorney by $7,000 and decrease 80204.01 planning CE rail trail by $4,034.75 for additional legal expenses. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund increasing revenue line 3820.01 state aid youth program by $5,372 and increasing expense line 71504.1.074 special rec facilities CE dance supplies by $22 and increasing expense line 71504.01.032 special rec facilities CE instructor by $500. This transfer plus the amount already in the budget totals the amount of grants received. Can I make that motion?
Second.
Any questions?
Is this, the legal service is going to get us just through a month or a couple of months, or is that for the rest of the year? Do you think? So we're putting 8,000 more into
Yes, because the planning CE special land use attorney, those funds were actually specific to him being in the planning, you know, going to planning board meetings. However, we've used that firm for other things such as noise and the monopole and other issues. So I moved the money,
I see.
additional money out of
So this is
there.
additional money for the extracurricular things he's been asked to do for us, is
Yes.
that right? I see. So we modify the budget when we have additional expenses like that come up that weren't anticipated
Right.
at budget time. Okay.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Sorry, this was 56.
6.
Okay, 2019 budget discussion. I've given you the information of the dates, the budget dates, so that you have them. This year, even though I sent out the budget worksheets to be turned in by the end of August, that was to give me some extra time to gather them up and get them in. The tentative budget is required to be turned into the town clerk's office before October 5th. We have a meeting on October 4th, so that's when we'll do the tentative budget. Now, what the tentative budget is whatever is on the worksheets from the different departments. It's like a starting point. It doesn't mean, you know, what the budget's going to end up at. And as I mentioned, the tax cap is at 2%. The tax cap is either at 2% or the, whatever the rate of inflation. The rate of inflation this year is 2.25%, so that we have to stay under a 2% tax cap if that's what we choose to do, depending on what expenses we have and, you know, what we want to put in the budget. Beekman Park, broken playground equipment replacement approval. Parkitect has a state bid. Actually, this bid has two prices on it. We're not doing the slide and they actually sent me, because as part of the original plan was this piece and another piece. Okay, then this is it. So the piece, this is the piece that we have at Beekman Park that's 20 years old, that's from another company. And it has broken parts on it. We have duct tape on the parts that are broken. We're going to, I talked to the maintenance guys at Beekman, and we're going to remove the old piece ourselves with the help of the highway department, so that, you know, we're not being charged for removing the old piece. It'll just be, the charge will only be for the new piece.
So part of this is going to be removed and replaced, is that right? But not the entire,
The whole thing.
the whole thing's going away and you're putting in a new,
Yeah, because it's all one piece.
oh, okay,
It's all one piece.
one unit, okay.
Yeah, it's all one unit.
And they're going to replace it with this thing and put, do surfacing and some, gosh, are they going to do some installation of water? Are they doing anything to the drainage? I thought I had seen drainage. Or is it draining fine? It's
Oh,
the
that one's
mosaic
fine.
that's got the
Well, this
drainage
says
issue.
surfacing installation with 3-inch drain stone layer.
Okay, that's what I saw, okay. So
Yeah,
there
that's
is
the
some-
problem in Wassaic. They didn't have that.
Okay.
Now, the current amount as of 7/31 in the Park and Recreation Savings Fund is $53,640.03. And they get $1,200 every month from the cell tower money.
And the one thing as town attorney I'd like to see is the equipment installation by a certified installer and playground code compliance audit, which is very nice to have. And I would request that all that documentation be provided to the town clerk so that it is maintained, so that in the future, if there is any claims regarding the installation of the equipment, which happens, we've had that in a couple of municipalities. So
What do we need to do?
the equipment installation by the so after it's installed, this proposal includes a playground code compliance audit. So they're going to have somebody come in and certify that that the playground is installed in accordance with the ASTM standards, which
Yeah,
is on
number 9 on-
number 9.
Right.
Karen
So-
did that last time for us.
And, you know, what some municipalities do in recreation is they'll have a playground, there's certain people who are certified to inspect the playground equipment on an annual
Our
or
code
semi-
enforcement officer, he actually took a class
Right.
through NYMER, through our insurance carrier.
Yeah, so that's good to have, is to keep that updated, because, they look at how much mulch is on the equipment and things like that in case, because it is frequent where, you'll have,
Yeah, we just added mulch
yep.
to all over
and-
to all the playgrounds.
So, God forbid an accident happens, you want to have that documentation around so that, you can provide it to, hopefully, Insurance Defense Council if any claim comes in.
So who is doing the audit? I wanna-
Well,
It's part of the,
It's part of
do
the
it, yeah. It's
installation,
part of the
right?
Last line
Just
item.
want to have it on file.
Right.
Whatever documentation
We got
that
it last
shows,
time when they did this one.
she
Yeah.
has it on file.
Yeah, no, we've worked with them. They actually installed our playground set
Yeah.
here, and they've been working with the town, so Parkitects, we know Parkitects.
yeah, and these guys are on, the NCPA contract, so, they do it for other municipalities, and
Yeah, they have the
they
state
know
bid.
the drill, so.
And they're very good at what they do.
So are we not getting a slide, did you say, in the beginning of this?
No,
No,
We
it's
are.
part of it.
Oh, okay, I want to make sure we get a slide.
Well,
because-
whatever,
We have-
it's a
whatever's
double,
on the
it's a
picture
double
of it.
swirl
This is
slide.
You
great.
can christen
This
it.
is great,
Okay,
yeah.
no, I just want to make sure we're,
No,
Actually,
this,
there's
you
two
get
slides.
you actually,
Well,
you get
four.
everything.
There's two and two.
There's two slides, Vicky, a double swirl slide and
I
a
see
double
it, I
swoosh
see it,
slide.
yeah, okay. Just want to make sure
There's enough
we're
for everybody
getting
to go down the
all
slide.
of
You
the
guys can go
slides
together.
we're supposed to get.
This looks great. I'm just asking, and I understand the state of the current equipment at Beekman, but can I ask just why we're prioritizing this over the,
Because it's dangerous and it doesn't meet ADA or safety standard.
I think that's also the case for the Wasaic Park equipment. And, I've been,
If you want to pull up all that equipment, we can go ahead and do that, but we don't have money to replace it.
well, we have $35,000 we're about to spend on this. That's what I'm asking, is what's in worse shape?
Because what we're trying to do in Wasac is we're trying to get a plan to not only replace the equipment down there or dig it up or whatever we're going to do with it, but also add equipment. Because when I went Parkitect down there, they said there was nothing there for toddlers. So we were going to actually look at a plan to expand the playground equipment there.
I thought Parkitect did a plan for Wasaic Park back in the day, it just
They,
wasn't.
they came down and looked at it and gave us some ideas, but there was no cost estimate to it.
Okay, we
I mean,
all,
they're the ones that told us the reason you keep getting all the weeds there is because there's no stone
yeah,
underneath.
it's clearly not done properly. I've been relaying some complaints that I've been receiving myself. We all did get an email, as well as the members of the Recreation Board on August 12th from Peter Clare, bemoaning the current state of the playground down there. So
Well, Sean has been down there, I had him, one of the things Parkitect recommended was that we paint I guess it's the monkey bars.
yeah,
So he did that.
Oh, okay.
And then he took out all the weeds underneath the swings,
Yeah, oh, yes, it looks much better
and he
now.
mulched it.
Yes.
The toddler swing that's there isn't safe because it has straps on it. So he removed that, and I've already ordered another one of those. They'll have the same one down there that they have in Beekman, which is much safer. So we're making, and then he also cut down all the area, and I think he probably put fabric down and put more mulch on where all the weeds keep coming up, but they're just going to come up again.
if we have limited funds and the geographic availability of playgrounds, we have a gorgeous brand new one right here behind Town Hall. There's a lot of schools up in this area near the hamlet of Amenia. There's pretty much nothing down south other than that park, and so
Well, we
I
did
don't-
make some improvements. The other thing down there was some cars going in,
well,
driving in through, that caused some damage. So what we're doing is we're going to put a post so that they can't drive in there, but we're going to leave enough space for the for the lawnmower to get in. So Sean's going to work with the highway department on that to put a post in so we can keep the cars from going down in there, which really have no business being down there to begin with. So the sheriff's department is also making more runs around there to keep an eye on it. So we're doing everything we can with what we have, but once we get the, a landscape architect and get an actual plan, and then we can get funds and we can start using the other, what's left of the recreation funds to start building on what we have down there. But we're making improvements as much as we can at this point. But there is a new toddler swing has been ordered for down there.
It came in. I called Sean today.
Oh, it came in?
Yes.
Aha, it's in.
Big box has arrived.
So we'll have a much safer toddler swing down there. What we're trying to do with, as much as we can at this point to make it, nicer for people to be able to use.
Right.
Okay, I mean, we have, what'd you say, 57,000 in the rec budget at the moment, and this is 35.
3450.
I just see a greater need for the residents that live on that end of town, as there is nothing else down there, and there's there are a lot of other options up here. So I would prefer, I think this is a great plan, and we should do it when we can afford it, but I would prefer that we prioritize the current funds for more drastic improvements than just painting the existing equipment and replacing the swing at Wassaic Park. That'd be my recommendation.
Well, what I could do is have Parkitect go down there and give us a cost proposal because I think instead of when was that equipment put in down there? Do
It
you
was
remember?
when Janet was still in, and it was about 2006 or 7, and it was about $11,000. It was not a major revamp. We spent $80,000 behind the town hall. We've spent, we're talking about spending $35,000 for one piece of equipment in Beekman Park. So the reality is that was built on a shoestring with existing, not great, equipment, and it hasn't had a full redo. But I think what we need to do is really have it reevaluated. What
We can
piece
send,
needs
yeah.
to come out completely and
All
be
of it needs to
replaced.
come out completely.
Maybe they can
Well, not the monkey
go
bars,
look at
those
it
are still
and
good.
give us
No,
a
I
joint-
meant,
swings
I
ought to
meant
still
in
work.
the part over there that keeps getting overgrown.
Right.
That
Is
all has to be
round?
dug up anyway.
Right.
Right.
Maybe they can look at it and give us a joint proposal. and
Sure. You
Maybe
want me
there's
to do
some
that?
cost savings if they do both projects, and we can do both with the available budget.
Well, I'll
I
call
just-
them and have them go down, and I'll meet them down there and have them give us an actual cost estimate to replace what's down there and to add some pieces for toddler.
Okay.
But I
'Cause they
would
all have to
replace
be in that area.
Exactly what that is, because I don't think that particular, it has no slide. There's no slide down there.
We're not going to replace what's there.
Right, okay.
Because
I just
it
want
was-
to make sure that we're
No,
not
we
doing an
can't.
exact redo.
Well,
Yeah.
no, because it's a different company.
Right.
It's a totally different company, and I don't even think they're in business anymore.
Okay.
So it would be a Parkitect park.
Design, right, and it needs to be in phases like we, have done in the past, where it's, you can do it as your budget allows, this piece and that piece.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, and we can, to save ourselves some money, we can actually pull out the equipment ourselves, because that's what we were going to do with the other. But I'll call them, we'll get a joint bid for both places, and get an actual plan to replace the older child equipment that's there, and then have them add some toddler equipment as well.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other matters?
Oh, I have this thing I meant to give this to you before. They gave this to me at the recreation meeting, last week, and I haven't been in the town hall all week.
Well, you can just pass it up.
Okay.
Give it to Jen. Or-
It's something for the camp, and I guess it's the bill for Weebatuck or something like that, so they,
Oh, we've been waiting for that.
oh, okay.
We usually have to call them and ask them for it. Can you please send us a bill?
Because
You know, we want to pay it.
they handed that to me last week, and I haven't been here all week to bring it up, and when I was sitting here.
Yeah, you could have just given that to Marge.
Yeah, but I wasn't here.
Okay.
That's,
Oh, that's okay. I'll give it to her.
Are we,
And
are
we'll
we
pay
gonna
'em.
skip this local law number 2? The amendment of, are we doing that? This
That's
it
the
was in
noise.
Yeah, it was in the other matters folder.
Yeah, it was just for your information,
Got it. Okay.
because we sent you, I sent you everything we had.
I saw that.
That was, just for your information. Okay, public comment? No. Town board comments?
I just want to talk about quickly, for the Sunday when we did the poetry reading and the music. It was very nice. I set off the alarms again, once again, but Victoria came to my rescue, and we figured it out. It was really very nice. About 10 folks showed up all together, and they did their poetry reading, and Spiky, who plays the ukulele and sings, was absolutely fantastic. He has an incredibly beautiful voice, really, really good voice. And the acoustics in that auditorium are fantastic, because they didn't have any PA system or anything. He just stood there and sang. And then they invited, the people who hosted it invited us, everyone across the street, to their house to have some refreshments of, the usual cookies and candies and stuff like that. But it was really very nice. And I did mention it at the rec meeting and tell them that I would like to continue doing this so that we can...
Do they want to have another one?
They were talking about they wanted to schedule something else, and they have my card, and Spiky has...
Yeah, they should actually do that through Dawn.
Through your...
Yeah, for the count, because she keeps track of the calendar.
Keep track of what's going on, so that they said they would call me, because they said they know people who play musical instruments and do all kinds of things. And I think that's very nice.
But I think what we decided at our last meeting is that subsequent ones, they would ask for permission from, they would want to be a town-sponsored activity.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So that's what they need to do
That's
next.
what we need
Okay.
to do next. So that's the step.
They should probably come to the recreation meeting.
Right. Well,
Isn't that what we discussed?
they're
Yes,
ready
have
to-
them when they're ready to do something, so they come up with a plan of whatever it is
Right.
they would like to do. So if you're listening to me, gang,
Yeah, if you have her number, you can give her a call.
yeah, and
Let her know when it is,
right, and we'll take care of it and talk to you about it.
because I think that's a lovely thing to be offering
It was
here.
very, very nice, and the poetry was very nice too. It was very nice, and the music was very. It was a very nice Sunday afternoon. It was very nice. The only thing I have going is the trip that's going out for Polka Day to the Villa Roma, Tuesday, September 25th. Please get your money in, folks. Trip's filling up fast. And then the next one's going to be in October to Aqua Turf. I know people are asking me about that. And then probably at the next meeting, I'll be able to tell everyone about the senior Christmas party in December. We'll work that out. Try to get some entertainment and stuff for that.
Can't believe it's
And
September.
that's all for me, everybody. Oh, I was Cub Master, I remember. The only reason I'm saying this, my doctor, I'm telling you, he didn't give me my medication. It's the truth. And that's why I'm a little bit foggy in my head, more so than usual. But thank you,
You're fine.
So I have one more rec. It's not a Amenia rec, but it's something, the Weebatuck Valley Youth Soccer utilizes our fields beginning at the end of August through the first week of November. So that's another hundreds of people that use our fields here in town. And I apologize, Rebecca, for not including it in part of my report, but they do open this Saturday, September 8th, So I would encourage all the board members to stop down at, just like we do and celebrate with our baseball teams, come down and support our local children that participate in soccer and see all the activities that go on down
Is that
there.
at Beekman?
It's going to be right at Beekman Park. It's our only set of park fields for all of our kids.
That's a lovely park, that's a lovely
Probably
park.
go down at 9.
Starts at 9?
Because little kids start, there's little kids, that's the fun ones, but the big kids start, they have 2 sets of games. But
And did the dance people started having, I probably jumped on.
Okay, yep.
You just took her dance.
So
Vicki, go ahead.
that's, we're going to be starting that on September 14th. That's a Friday. And it's going to be run through December 9th with Saturday rehearsals primarily, but there are some additional weeknight rehearsals. So because we're doing a very ambitious program this year, it's going to be putting on the production of Elf, the musical junior. The shows will be in December 8th and 9th. But we're going to do low-key auditions on Friday, September 14th from 6 to 7 p.m. in the auditorium. And if you want to sign up for a 5-minute slot, you can call the town clerk or stop by and sign up on the door of the auditorium. It's available for you to put in your name and a time frame. And you don't absolutely have to audition, but if you are expecting to be in a primary role, whatever you call that, a supporting or a lead role, then you do need to audition. And students, all students who audition will be cast, is the language. And there's a whole schedule of proposed rehearsals which run right through the show on December 9th. And so you need to be
17.
aware of the commitment that's involved to put this on. Heather Holohan-Gorneri is going to be the instructor and the producer. And the rehearsals are primarily Saturdays, 9:30 a.m. to 12:30. The weeknights, you may not be required to do any of the weeknights if you're not in a lead role or in a particular group. But it's good to be aware of the timing. I'm just saying this for my own purposes, if you have problems with transportation, you could reach out to me or to Heather, and we will try and help you make sure if your parents are working or unavailable, that shouldn't be a barrier. We should be able to try and figure this out. So it's free. It's available to anybody in grades 2nd through high school. And we need more than just kids who are going to perform. We'll need people who know how to run lights and run curtains and run sound systems and help with props. And photography would be always welcome. So thank you for anybody who wants to help spread the word. It's a great program and it's free. And thanks to Arts Mid-Hudson and the Berkshire Taconic Community Foundation Northeast Dutchess Fund have provided all the funds this year for this program, as we anticipate the expenses to be about $6,500. So that's been covered by those grants. Thank
That's
you.
wonderful. That's nice.
Bravo.
The other thing that's starting on Tuesday, September 11th at the Weebatuck Middle School gym will be volleyball for adults, and it starts 6 to 9 on Tuesday, next Tuesday. The other thing that I believe is true is the ambulance study. The public hearing is going to be September 27th?
No.
No,
It's
that's changed?
It originally was going to be, but they're looking to push it out to sometime in October, and the
Okay.
date isn't set yet.
Never mind. Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
I just have a couple of things. One question for you, Victoria. You mentioned the right-of-way documents for the trail to the train are being assembled. By whom? Is that with WSP?
No, Jim is.
We have, so I believe the last piece we have the deed and transfer documents. We're waiting for the release of the partial release of the mortgage for the Wasaic auto barn. So that's the only document that we're waiting on.
And we're working with Ed Downey
So once that's received.
to get that.
We anticipate we'll have that either tomorrow or Monday, and that should be recorded. So Scott was going to walk it up to the county clerk's office for recording, and hopefully they'll expedite the recording of it. So So I believe
And that's the last piece.
piece of it.
Is your mic off again?
Oh.
I'm going to repeat all that.
No,
No,
mine's on.
Documents should be with our lawyer tomorrow or Monday, and then we can
Right.
record that. And then that will allow us to go out for bid, is that correct?
Yes. Well, we have to get, once that last piece of document gets sent to DOT, then they give us the approval to go out to bid, but they're like sitting there waiting to
Yeah.
do that as soon
Okay.
as they get it.
The other thing was we discussed the mini splits for here and for the courtroom. We were waiting on some information from that. I don't know if we received that from Mike or...
Not sure what, so I
Well, I
saw
think he
the
sent you
emails.
an email, you wanted to know where they were going to put them, and I think he answered you. I was
He
copied
did say
on that.
outside. I mean, I took some pictures. There's currently a lot of beautiful flowers and shrubbery, and to put down a pad and put the condenser out there, one on either side of the entrance, I question the
Well, what
aesthetic choice there, but
we were going
I had
to,
asked for more information about the warranty, the
You wanted the
manufacturer
warranty.
and the support. The
Yeah, that's-
manufacturer and the installation.
that's why I moved it out
Okay.
to the next meeting. The other thing I want to do is, I want to call NYSERDA to see if there's funds to pay for it. Because I think HVAC, there might be funding through their existing facilities grant.
Got it.
So I'm going to look for money.
That would be great.
I just
would.
wanted-
Sorry, one
Oh,
last
I'm
thing.
sorry.
My cable went out a couple of weeks ago, and I called to schedule a service appointment, and was surprised that it took as long as it took. I mean, in fairness to Optimum or Altice, whatever they're called now, it was just after a storm, and so they were busy. But anecdotally, I've heard that they've had some layoffs and reduction in the teams. I just want to make people aware that if anyone is not satisfied with the service that they're receiving, it should be known to the public that our cable operator is awarded the concession to operate cable by the town, and we recently went through that. I read an article recently about a lawsuit based on actually the former owners of Cablevision are suing Altice about layoffs that they promised they wouldn't do and whatever. So in short, if you're having any challenges or problems or questions, please do let us know, and we can manage that with the concessionaire appropriately. They did make certain commitments to us, to the town, when that concession was being transferred because of the acquisition, to uphold certain levels of service and pricing, and so just let us know. That's it.
Oh, okay, I just want, and I think it's for Dawn Marie, I think I'm relaying this message to you. The Dutchess County ASPCA, they want to come like when we do the farm market, or they want to, of course, they're checking around the different towns to come and set up little booths and stuff. And I was recommending that they speak with you because you're the town clerk, and you'll tell them where they can go and what they can do. So I just wanted to let people know, I am relaying the message, everyone, for the Dutchess County ASPCA, and they're doing a lot of stuff in this area.
Great.
And hopefully they'll be able to, they want to get out to do the rabies stuff. So
Okay, great.
It's all in the plans, so.
Great. Well, thank you for working on that.
Okay, I'm just-
Appreciate that. No,
I'll
thank
give
you.
the update. And once I tell them to see you, I'll just wave as I go by.
Well, keep on them. Keep on your contacts, because it'd be great to get it out here.
Okay, is there any other town board comments?
It's 8:41. Jim has something to say.
I
Does
move that
Jim?
we adjourn.
I'm like, Jim has
I
something to
second.
say.
So,
Jim,
we
the other
were-
Jim.
All right.
They're all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
They're all in favor.
Okay.
They're all in favor.
Okay.